So you were in town this weekend out on Long Island, right?
I was.
Dancing?
If you want to call it that.
Yeah. But so we used to, Asa Akira used to be a co-host on our show, and
That's
she
right,
she was
yeah.
like,
I love Asa.
yeah, like dancing. She's like, I'd put on like Biggie, like dance around for a little bit, like show my ass off stage. It's like, okay, I mean, whatever works, I guess. Yeah. Is that something like, is that just like, you know, pay the bills, you want to do it? Or you like
No,
doing
it's really fun.
Yeah.
I started stripping when I was like 16, actually, and it's just something that I've always liked doing. I love 80s rock, so play some Motley Crue, some
What's
Def
your go-to
Leppard.
song?
Ooh, pour some sugar on me, some sweet cherry pie.
Yeah.
The hits.
You know,
The hits.
the
You know.
classics. You
If
know.
I was a stripper, I'd probably go with those two. That would
Pretty
work.
much.
That would work.
But
What was
yeah.
the vibe like there? What was the crowd?
Oh, it was amazing. Gossip's always a really cool. I like it because it's very diverse. Like, you've got your older couples, you've got swingers, you've got bikers, you've got the white collar crowd, the 21-year-olds.
Can you tell like all that when you're looking at someone? Like, are you like,
yeah.
oh, like, that's a swinger couple, or like that's just.
I'm really good at reading a room. Like,
You'll tip well, you
disclosure.
won't tip well, yeah.
Full disclosure, like, I used to be, let's call it what it is. I used to be a hooker. So I'm very
I like your style.
I'm very honest. I'm very honest. I'm in
Okay.
a much different place in life now, so we can look back on things and laugh. Haha.
Okay.
But part of that job actually really helped me start learning people, signals, body language, things like that. Because, you know, you get to know someone within an hour, or the second they walk in the room, and you have to figure out, does this person want me to be smart? Do they want me to be funny? Do they want me to shut the fuck up? Do they want me to... So, yeah, you kind of learn who your audience is very quickly.
That's a fuck. I would imagine that's a very important skill. Like, do they want to kill me?
Most important skill.
I wasn't even thinking. You're like, do they want me to be smart? Do they want me to be funny? I'm like, do they want to murder me?
Should I fear for my life right now? Do I have to call for help?
Got a little bit of crazy in their eye. What do I do? No,
When-
it's me they should
when
be
was
scared
that?
of. I'm just kidding. No, that was
I don't think you are. And I respect that.
I'll go laugh like it's a joke, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
You know, what are you gonna do? No, that was years ago. It was like probably 4 or 5 years ago. You know, you get in the industry, you try things out, you figure out if it's for you or not, and you kind of.
Is that's like? I almost like more escort rather than like a hooker. Like, you were like a hotel bar.
I laugh about it. It's like when girls are like, "I'm a dancer." I'm like, "Honey, you're a stripper." Like, let's be real.
You can sugarcoat it
But
all.
no,
in
it was
different ways.
it was very high end.
Yeah, right. It's not you weren't hanging out at the Holiday Inn trying to get some guy in town on an insurance trip.
No, my
Just like, you know, I've heard some. I don't know.
my clients were the type that paid me to not say anything. That's, you know.
Yeah,
so it
you
wasn't
pay for
like
discretion, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
it was
who were
cool.
they?
It was
I was gonna say, so
who were they? Right, we're not there anymore. No, but it was a cool time in my life. I'm happy that chapter's closed and I've moved on. And
what percentage of the adult industry would you say does that?
a high
that common?
percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I mean,
Why not, right?
yeah,
Kinda
I mean,
try it out.
You're getting paid for sex, or you're getting paid for sex. It doesn't really matter. It's like that Family Guy episode where like he comes in with the video camera and suddenly it's okay.
Oh yeah.
Anyone who's like, oh well, there's no paperwork. Well, fuck you. Like, it's, as long as you're
paperwork.
as long as you're being safe about it, that's all that matters. But
So yet at the same time, you were like, you don't want to do that anymore.
after a while, it just like you tick things off your box and you get used to just figuring out what works for you and what doesn't.
I think
So.
I'd be an escort if I could.
Yeah. I think I'd give
definitely
it a
be down.
crack. How much? Let's say how much did you make on like a Friday night?
That would depend.
I'm gonna say yes really fast. Like, yeah, I'd do it.
on a good, like, if you walked out being like, all right, that was worth it. That was a good night. How much are we talking?
10 grand for a couple hours.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Heartbeat.
I mean, so fucking.
Well, the thing is, like,
And I would
why
work
wouldn't you?
around the clock.
Right?
I'd be like, let's get an 18-hour shift in.
Yeah, seriously.
That is, and I know you're not gonna give me names. So are we talking like just rich people, or are we talking like famous people that other people would
Both.
know?
Yeah.
How
I'll
like
fuck famous people for money. I'll do that. I'll fucking
Well, when I think about it, there's girls fucking for free.
Right.
So
right. Like,
don't hate the player, hate the game.
how awesome is that to think that like I'm so hot and so good at this that people are gonna pay me this much
Does-
money?
that
like
really- that's got to be a huge ego boost.
No, it's. I don't know. For me, honestly, it got a little weird because, and truth be told, the reason I quit was because of the emotional. Like, I never lied to them. I was very upfront, very honest. Like, you have me for this amount of time. Like, I was never rude, but like, there would come a point where their emotions would kind of get involved because you're cool, you hang out, you get to know each other and all this stuff. But I never wanted to be that person that led anybody on. That
that's
mess with
kinda
anyone's
tough.
emotions.
I would
Well, no,
imagine
but,
that's
but that was the hard part for
Yeah.
me, was like taking on their emotions and then having them get attached and then having them think that like we're potentially going to be dating or something like that. So that was kind of for me like where I had to cut it off and be like,
Did you
know,
ever? Was it always like business, or did you ever start to feel for anybody?
No,
Was there any pretty woman moments?
no. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
my
apparently- I
life
don't
is
think
not an
that's real.
'80s movie. I wish it was. I wish there was a boy outside on my lawn with speakers. Please, dear God. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah, you better be careful.
right. But
I think you do
Tomorrow morning,
that.
you're gonna wake up to
on to other topics of conversation.
Yes,
'Cause
yes, yes.
That's in the
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
I'm about to no longer be a Cowboys fan.
Whoa.
That
I'm
was
so
not
serious,
great.
you motherfuckers. I'm so disappointed in yesterday's game. My TV was verbally defecated on.
I did not see that coming. I'm a Jets
Kevin's a
fan.
Jets fan.
I was.
I almost didn't come today. I'm not gonna lie.
I would have
this
respected
close.
that. I would have respected that. I've never had somebody canceled because their team lost. I would actually like that.
You're not
That
even in our
was-
division, bro.
Yo,
You're
that
not even
was-
in our division.
Not
That
even conference.
was
How did
embarrassing.
How did you end up being a Cowboys fan?
13.
I guess-
I was a cheerleader.
Ah, that makes
That'll
sense.
do it.
Yep, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
That was pretty much as bad as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
what-
that
I
was-
didn't
that
know
was an
what the fuck
asshole
was
pick.
going
And you know
on.
what sucks is like I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, it's halftime. We always come back in the third quarter. We always come back third quarter.
You did make a comeback. You made
We
it.
did. And then we
Tight.
didn't. And I was like, fuck this. I'm getting ready for dinner. I didn't even watch the end of the game. I was so disappointed.
Is that your team?
Yeah.
You like other sports or just football?
No, I like UFC, things like that. But more, have you ever watched Australian football?
No.
What?
Ooh.
Jessa Rhodes, are you dropping Australian
I was gonna
football
say.
on us right now?
I'm in over my depth. I don't know.
It is the most
I don't
intense
even know what it is.
sport I have ever watched.
it like
it's-
rugby? What
dude,
is
it's like
Australian?
rugby, soccer, and football mixed. Like, there are no rules. These guys are like colliding in the sky.
How did you get into Australian football?
I have a lot of Australian friends.
Why?
Because they're awesome.
Yeah.
I would like. I know.
I wish I
I
had
agree
Australian
with that wholeheartedly. But like, where do you find a bunch of Australian people?
Australia.
A bar?
Put you in a fucking pretzel on that one,
I
bud.
mean,
You
yeah,
dumbass.
I mean, the
Where
legal-
do you think you fucking idiot? Where do you find Australians? Australia.
Like, it just like I couldn't even fathom like vacation and stuff like that. I was like, well, you live in Vegas, so
Well, actually, most of my Australian friends are with Thunder Down Under. So
With
Actually,
what?
Thunder from Down Under, the Australian stripper group.
oh, I don't
know
know
that.
that. is.
I
And
know
they're
that,
they're all
yep.
cool, but
Yep.
you know, the legal drinking age in Australia is like 9 years old. So
Yeah. I didn't even think there was
a bar
one.
would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
But no, they're pretty cool. But yeah, Australian football is definitely something to check out if you like high impact sports.
Here comes Arya. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, Aria.
Arya tends to come around when we have pretty girl guests. Australia #1 accent, you think? If you had to have an accent, two questions. If you had to have an accent, and what accent do you like on a guy?
You look Australian. You should just start talking in an Australian
Really?
accent. Yeah.
You could pull that off.
I could possibly. We'll see.
Good day.
No, don't
Give me your best.
don't-
Give me your best.
don't- give us
Come on, you got
something.
friends.
Oh,
Give me your
good
best
day.
Australian accent.
Don't
Good
say
idea,
put
son.
another shrimp on the Barbie because they don't
They
say
hate that.
They don't.
No, the best way to describe it is when people start to try to talk Australian, but then they go British.
Yeah.
What you have to remember is Australians tend to go up at the end of every sentence because they're all too insecure to make a statement. There you go. It just goes like, yeah.
That's
And they say,
sing. They sing their
they
words,
sing,
yeah.
and they say heaps a lot. Like a lot.
You're really, really good at this. This is amazing.
Yo, you should just like make this your thing. You're
I
like,
saw-
I'm
you know,
Australian now.
when I used to drink, I'm actually 2 months sober. Woohoo.
Congrats.
The world is better off because of it. When I used to drink, you know how like there's always like bar in casinos. My friends and I would go from one to another, and I would do a different accent at each one and convince people I was from different places. And then randomly in the conversation, I would start talking like myself again, and they were like super confused.